It's a new day part 2 on an epic journey. Hi, I'm Steven Shomler, and this video is a sequel to It's a New Day part 1, as you can imagine. And in that video, I shared the game plan I have for the videos I'm going to be producing over the next 3 years. And I introduced the Spark to Bonfire channel. In this video, I'm going to let you in on what I'm going to be doing with the Steven Shomler channel. All right, let's get started. I'm on an epic journey, and I have been since at least the summer of 2011. That's when I stood in a dirt driveway in Southeast Portland. I decided that I was going to change my life and build a new career out of thin air. I was inspired by Anthony Bourdain. May he rest in peace. At No Reservations, in that show he had, he would always say, I write, I travel, I eat, and I'm hungry for more. And then he would yell. And I was always moved by that. Summer of 2011, foolishly perhaps, I thought, you know what? If Anthony Bourdain can get paid to eat and drink, so can I. And I set out and decided that's it. I'm going to become a writer and a speaker and an author and be self-employed. And then January 1, 2012, inspired by a meal I had prepared by Chef Rick Giancarelli. He's an amazing chef. I love Rick so much. I'd had that meal at his food cart, the Lardo food cart, back in fall of 2010. I launched my first brand, writing about food carts. As I mentioned, that was January 1, 2012. And using the 13 doable steps I cover in the You Can Build Your Brand resource I'm creating right now, look for that to come out early 2020. Using those 13 doable steps, it took me 3 years and 6 days, and I was able to ditch my day job. At that point in my life, January 6, 2015, I had a day job that, man, I struggled with. I was grateful for the income. My boss was awesome, but the rest of it was terrible. I didn't like the company. I didn't like the industry. It was quite a struggle for me. And they told us, hey, we're moving the jobs to Denver. The position you have, we're moving all the jobs to Denver. And I guess, if we wanted to move to Denver, we could apply to have a job there in Denver. And I wasn't moving to Denver. And then they offered us this terrible position, worse than the bad position I had. And I'm like, I just don't know if I can do it. And I called my friend Arthur Brewer up. Arthur's an amazing composer, and he's a website wizard. And I talked to Arthur and said, man, I'm thinking of making the leap and going for it and becoming self-employed. He encouraged me. He said, man, I'll help you get clients. Your stuff is good. It'll all work out. And with his encouragement, man, I went for it. And that day I ditched my day job, and I've been self-employed ever since. And I've been so grateful for Arthur, not only for his friendship and his help, but like I said, he's a website wizard. He helps me with all my websites. Man, if you're building a brand or building a business, you need a website. I'm very convicted of that. And he is a great person to work with. There's a link down below, or you can go to arthurthewebsitewizard.com for more information, but I highly encourage you to work with Arthur. Yeah, and during that time, 2012 to 2015, I also fulfilled a dream I'd had for decades. I became an author. I started my first brand January 1, 2012, and August of 2013, 20 months after I started, I had my first book contract. I know how to attract a publisher, and my first book was published 2014. I still remember that day. I call it the day I became an author, April 17th. 2014, to me, that's the day I became an author. I need to tell that story sometime soon. I got my second book contract fall of 2014, and my second book was published in 2015. And now that I'm back at it, I'm back in the hunt, I've got more books I'm working on and more books coming. I'm so excited about that. I mentioned that I ditched my day job on January 6, 2015, and that brought some big positive change into my life, because I went from working 80 to 100 hours a week to 40 to 60 hours a week. Because up until I ditched my day job, particularly the last 18 months of that first big 3-year push, I was working 40 hours a week at a day job, not counting the time to get ready to go to work, and not counting the commute to and from work, but 40 hours a week there. And 40 to 60 hours a week building. By then I had 2 brands, building the 2 brands I had. And when you add that together, that's 80 to 100 hours a week. And then when I ditched my day job, I all of a sudden went to just having to nurture my 2 brands and build the business that had grown out of them. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And all of a sudden I'm working just 40 to 60 hours a week. And to be honest, there was some weeks simply because I only worked 30 hours. I thought it was fantastic. And things were just cruising along. Fall of 2015, I was working on my 3rd book, and I knew I'd have it done in early 2016. And I knew that, okay, what I'll do is I'll finish that book, and then by spring of 2016, I'll put in another big 3-year push from 2016 to 2019, and by spring of 2019, I'll be set. Because when I started January 1, 2012, my brand was nothing. It was here. And then I worked really, really hard, and for 3 years, a big 3-year push, and got it to here. And I figured another 2 to 3 year hard push would get me to where I really wanted to go, which was to here. That was kind of the game plan I had. I thought, okay, I'm going to start 2016. That spring, I'll start that big push, and by 2019, I'll be all set. I was so excited about that. And then February 8, 2016, the wheels came off completely. As some of you know, that was the evening I lost my 17-year-old son, Zane Steven Shomler, and that event wrecked me completely for a good 3 years. I'm still not really ready to talk about all that. At some point, I will make some videos about it, but that was a devastating event. That was the worst night of my adult life, February 8th, 2016. It was just terrible. And how that impacted me professionally is when that happened, I lost most of the creative energy I had. And I'm not sure I survived financially, particularly that first year. I was a creative with no creative energy. I don't know how I even made it. I call that period from February 2016 to February 2019, that 3-year period, I call it my long, dark winter. It's kind of an homage or an ode to Laura Ingalls Wilder. She wrote a book, The Long Winter, talked about her family going through a really tough winter, 1880 to 1881. That's a very special book to me. We lived in Minnesota from 2001 to 2004. And during that time period, we read that book, The Long Winter, to the 3 Z's, to Zachary, Zane, and Zoe. I used to love saying that. Zachary, Zane, and Zoe. 7 letters, 5 letters, 3 letters. And for the record, Zachary is now Zach. Zoe is now Zeke, and Zane is gone. So I've been through a lot of change with all of that. I called those 3 years a long, dark winter because there was a lot of days that were very long and very dark and very cold through that 3-year period. But don't misunderstand me. Not all the days were awful. Just like any other winter, some of the days were better than others, and some of the days the sun even shined. And I did have some epic adventures during those 3 years. Perhaps foolishly, during that time frame is when I started my 2 podcasts. That's why, early on there's gaps because I just didn't have creative energy to work on it. I was still really grieving the loss of my son Zane. But I started my 2 podcasts, my beer podcast and my culinary podcast during that time. 2017 and 2018, I started and did the Portland Radler Festival, which was a lot of fun. I partnered with my good friends at Stormbreaker Brewing. I thought up a beer festival and we did it together, and that was such a blast, so much fun to put it together. 2017, I started Portland BLT Week. I still remember how that really cool event came together. December of 2016, I remember there was a storm in Portland, and I was at Paymaster in Portland, and I was having a BLT and a Barley Brown's Pallet Jack IPA and a shot of whiskey, and that is still a great combination in my head to this day. You get a Pallet Jack IPA and a shot of whiskey, man, that is just a perfect combination. But I still remember the place I was sitting, the table and the stools I was sitting at. Just recently, my wife and I were out on a Portland dive bars adventure, and we stopped there, and I showed her that's where I was sitting when the idea came up for Portland BLT Week. And by the way, if you want to check out that project, go to portlanddivebars.com. It's a really fun project, new with my wife. I'm super excited about it. It's just a blast to get to do things with your sweetheart. At least it is for me. Anyways, back to that cold, snowy night, December 2016. I'm there, I have my BLT, and I've got my Pallet Jack IPA and my shot of whiskey. And I say to the person I'm with, man, I look down and I think, I love BLTs. I should start Portland BLT Week. And they looked up at me and they said, you can't do that, meaning that I couldn't pull that off. And like my wife says, I have a chip on my shoulder and I probably need to work on that. But often when someone tells me I can't do something, it actually inspires me and motivates me quite a bit. And when that person got up and went to the bathroom, I got my phone out and I bought portlandbltweek.com. And I still remember laying in bed Sunday morning, January 1st, 2017, and I launched on Facebook and put up the event and said, I am doing Portland BLT Week in October of 2017. And we pulled it off, and we did it. And Portland BLT Week 2017 was awesome. I didn't do Portland BLT Week in 2018. I just didn't have the energy, still recovering from the loss of Zane. But I did it this year, 2019, and it went phenomenal. It was so great and so much fun. I monetized my love for my favorite sandwich. That's the power of building a brand. You build a brand successfully, and you can do things like monetize the love of your favorite sandwich. I get so much get a kick out of that. And I've eaten those 2 BLT weeks, some of the best BLTs I've ever had in my life. Just a joy. And best of all, Portland BLT Week 2019 really helped me with the next 3-year phase of my business. The phase I'm in right now, I call it Bonfire 2022. If you want to hear the story how Portland BLT Week helped me with that, the first video on the Spark to Bonfire YouTube channel, it's Get Started, Get Better, Get Stuck, because it tells the story of what I happened. And if you're building a brand or building a business, there's a lot of really good achievement principles in there, which is why I put that video over on that channel. I encourage you to go watch it. But man, Portland BLT Week, that was a blast. Let's see. Saturday night, August 5th, my son Zach said he was going to come over about 8 o'clock. He's excited about a project he wants to start, and he knows I know how to build brands, and he now respects my business acumen, and he asked for my help, and I said, great. And, being who he is, he showed up at 11 o'clock instead of 8, and he sat down and he poured his heart out. He told me how he wanted to start Strong Opinion Sports, and instantly I knew that would work, and I knew that he could make it work. I knew that he would be a tremendous success at that. And so we laid out a game plan that night, and he bought the domain that night, and we put up the Instagram page, our Instagram account, and the Facebook page. If you look at the Facebook page, it says August 6, 2017. That's because by the time we were done doing our planning, it had gone from Saturday night to Sunday morning, and that's why it says August 6th. And since then, I've done a little bit of work, my little part in the background, cheering him on and helping him, and it's been such a joy to see that whole project come together. As of the date that I'm recording right now, let's see, he has 111,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is just absolutely phenomenal. I am so proud of him. It's incredible. Okay, what else? September 13th, 2017 is probably the best thing that happened to me. No, scratch that. It is the best thing that's happened to me during that long, dark winter. I had my first date with my sweetheart. We met at a dive bar, and I just have to tell you, it was magical. I dated her through all of 2018, and like I said, she was the brightest, the best thing that happened during that whole long, dark winter. That 3-year period. And just to kind of bring closure to you for that story, we did get married on February 11th, 2019, and we had a wonderful wedding on June 20th, 2019. And as you can guess, there's a story there, and I'll be telling part of that story here on this YouTube channel because it's so romantic and I love it, and I'm just excited to get to share it with you. So while not all of it was bad during that time period, that really tough time period, I still didn't have the creative energy that I had before Zane died. It wasn't until just recently, fall of 2019, that I'm finally back firing on all cylinders. I'm so excited. I'm going to work hard for the next 3 years, from the fall of 2019 through the fall of 2022. I call that 3-year journey Bonfire 2022. It's my next big 3-year push to get where I want to go and to take my brand. I started out, with nothing, and I built a brand. Now I'm going to work hard to take it to the next level. I love the life I've built since the summer of 2011, and I've accomplished 4 of the big goals I set out in summer 2011. I have become a writer. I am an author. I am self-employed. I'm not a speaker yet, but I think that's coming. And by the way, if you want me to speak at your events, I have a ton of professional speaking experience under my belt, and I would absolutely love to speak at your event. Just reach out to me. I'd love to talk with you about your event. But I still have some dreams that I want to see come true. My sweetheart and I have some big goals we're pursuing. And so, that's why I'm investing this next 3 years to make it happen. And this channel, I'm going to tell the story of that epic journey, and you can follow along. That's what you're going to see from now on, is the story of that journey and that battle and pursuing those things and making it happen. I'm going to cover the future stuff as it unfolds over the next 3 years. And I'm going to tell some of the important stories, the stories that I think are important from the past. I already mentioned I wanted to talk to you about a romance. My sweetheart got me a pretty significant tattoo for my 50th birthday that I got this year. And I want to tell the story of that tattoo. I think it'll be helpful to other people. I mentioned I want to talk about the day that I became an author. That's a pretty significant day, and that's an exciting story I'm going to share. I want to tell about the time that Mamma Mia changed my life. I sat in the theater for the first time and just watching that movie and bawling my eyes out, and how that all came together. And I think I'm ready to talk about battling back from homelessness, because the summer of 2011, when I was in that dirt driveway, we were moving out of a house, out of a 5-bedroom house into an unheated, unfinished single-car garage. And to be honest, I've had a lot of shame, inside me about that part of my journey. I think I'm getting close to being ready to talk about that. So I'll be talking about that. So there's some of the stories that I'll be sharing from the past, and I'll be sharing the stuff from the future moving forward, all the cool things to be going on. And I know that saying that I am on an epic journey, it sounds kind of audacious. I don't know. The journey I've been on has been epic since at least 2011, and that's just how I experience it. It's been an epic journey. And then as I look ahead over the next few months and the next few years, the things on the horizon, they're equally epic, and I'm so excited for them. I mentioned my Spark to Bonfire business. I'm creating the You Can Build Your Brand resource, and I've got a total of 6 resources I'm going to be creating over the next 3 years that's going to help a lot of people and change a lot of lives. And I'll be sharing stories right here on this channel about the journey of creating those resources. There's big changes coming to both of my podcasts in 2020, and I'm super excited about it. And you'll learn about it here, and I'll talk about it, make videos about those changes. I'm adding a culinary show in 2020. I've already done some filming and shot footage at a really cool Oregon hazelnut farm and with a Portland chef, and we've got a lot more filming I'll be doing throughout the end of this year. Look for that, the Culinary Treasure Show coming in 2020. I'm so excited about them. I'm so excited about that. And then I've been lucky enough, I'm in the midst of helping launch a startup that my wife and I and my son Zach, we have ownership in. Shirts for your people. If you're building a brand or if you're building a business, we've got shirts for your people. I can't wait to tell you the story of Shirts for Your People and introduce you to T-Shirt Dave. T-Shirt Dave is the principal and CEO of that company. So if you want to get a bid on T-shirts, man, shoot him an email, info@shirtsforyourpeople.com, and he'll get back to you. Don't email me for a bid. I'm not T-Shirt Steven. It's T-Shirt Dave you want to talk to. I am part of the company, but he's the principal and CEO, and it's going to be a lot of fun when you find out how that all unfolded. Travel. Oh my goodness. Just a little behind the scenes secret. I have 4 delights, things I absolutely love that I have been strategically building my career around since I started this crazy journey. I decided to start it in 2011, the summer of 2011, and January 1, 2012 just went for it. And those 4 delights are, I love life change. I love helping people change their life. So that's the first one. The second one is storytelling. I love storytelling. The third one is magnificent meals, and it's so cool to me these days, and it has been for a while now, that professionally I get to have magnificent meals. I just can't tell you how much I absolutely love it. That's the life I imagined, and I get to live it now. That's just phenomenal. And then travel. I absolutely love to travel. I've got my passport, and I am ready to go. So I've got travel trips coming up, even in the near future. December 2019, my son Zach's taking me to Cincinnati. He has great respect for Tom Brady, and he wants to see Tom Brady play in real life, right there, and see him on the field. Zach doesn't have a favorite team. People don't believe him when he says that, but he really doesn't have a favorite football team, but he does really respect Tom Brady. So he did research, and he tried to find out where's the cheapest place to buy tickets somewhere along not on the 50-yard line, but along the 50-yard line, kind of in the middle of the stadium, where, we can sit and watch the game and see the Patriots play. And it turned out the cheapest tickets for that were in Cincinnati. So we're going to Cincinnati in December. I'm going to bundle up, but we're going to have a fun trip. I'm going to shoot footage for that. I'm going to put out a video about that. It's going to be just a lot of fun. I'm so excited about that trip. For the past 2 years, I've been lucky enough to be invited to Bozeman, Montana for Bozeman Craft Beer Week, which has just been fantastic. I've recorded, more than 20 podcasts when I've been there the past 2 years. I've gathered content for my beer podcast, my culinary podcast, for Savory Travel Adventures, my website, Savory Travel Adventures, for my foodie website, Culinary Treasure. And by the time I'm done, I'll have more than 40, maybe 50 pieces of content all about Bozeman, Montana. And so to kind of have fun with it, I can't do this with every location, but a few places I fall in love with. I bought adventuresinbozeman.com, and if you go to adventuresinbozeman.com, it takes you and lists all of that content, whether it's YouTube videos or travel articles or food articles or podcasts, they're all just listed right there. And this January, I start my next place I absolutely love. I absolutely love the Oregon coast, and I have for a very, very long time. So this January begins, I'm going to spend three days out there in January, and it'll be the first of 4 trips I'm headed to the Oregon coast this year. And it kicks off with, I'm hosting a beer dinner with Chef Jake Burden, offshore grill there in Rockaway Beach and Fort George Brewing. I love Fort George. They're a chapter in my second book. I interviewed the founders for my second book. And I get to host this beer dinner. It's going to be talk about magnificent meals. The food's going to be amazing. But I'm going to spend 3 days. That'll be my first trip, and I'll be gathering articles for my content for my articles for my travel website and my Culinary Treasure website, and for both of my podcasts. And I'll be shooting lots of video for my Culinary Treasure show. So that's an exciting trip. There'll be 4 trips over the next year that I'm super excited about. And Kauai, oh man. My sweetheart and I, we first went to Kauai March of 2018 and had just an incredible trip. It was so awesome. And we're going back. In February, we're going back for our honeymoon and celebrate our first anniversary and my birthday. And tell you, that's going to be an epic trip. It is our honeymoon, so what do they say on Mamma Mia? Oh yeah, ... So yeah, ... But in addition, I'm going to record a really special podcast there. My sweetheart is very in favor of this podcast, very excited about it. Can't wait to tell you about that. That's going to be so much fun. Currently, we're planning on going to Puka Dogs. Maybe I'll shoot some footage when I'm there, but I'm so excited to get to eat real-life Puka Dog. If you know what it is, at least I'll have an article to bring back to talk to you about, even though I don't have video. We're going to go to Hanalei. I've wanted to go to Hanalei for a long, long time. And to get to go with my sweetheart on our honeymoon is going to be phenomenal. There's a tiki bar up there that I can't wait to check out. We love tiki bars. We also love dive bars. We're going to go back to Big Wave Dave's. They're a dive bar in Kapa'a on the island of Kauai. And I'm telling you right now, they are the home of the best Mai Tai on the island of Kauai. I'll put a link in the article below so you can see for yourself. And that's just the beginning. There's just lots more travel coming. Oh, books. Not only more trips coming up over the next 3 years, but books. I am back to writing books. I have that energy to write books now, and I can't wait to tell you about those as those books unfold and get published. I love the life I have built, and I so hope that my sharing my adventures and the stories I'm going to be telling in this channel will inspire you to build a life you love and go on your own epic journey. I'm Steven Shomler. I believe in the beauty of your dream. Go live the life you imagine. Cheers, everybody.